The historical record suggests that though the Church did receive some pressures from outside groups to change its policy, this pressure was of little consequence for the change that was made in 1978. Most of this pressure came and went away by 1978. There is no reason to believe that the Church could not have maintained its position even to this day if it wanted or needed to do so. Yet this does not stop people from claiming the Church surrendered its beliefs and convictions to appease those outside of the Church. They will cite examples that they claim forced the Church to change. This presentation will briefly cover the main examples and reasons why these examples are false. Protests in the 1960s and 1970s against Latter-day Saint college sports teams competing on college campuses. It is absurd to think the Church surrender any important doctrine, policy, or practice over the issue of sports. Sports have their place in college life, but they are not central to the Church. At church college campuses, only BYU in Provo has a comprehensive, competitive sports program. In addition, college campus protests were common in that period, so why would the Church give any attention to protests? They were just part of the norm of those days. The lawsuit in question was not about the priesthood being denied to black members but about leadership positions in scouting organization itself. The NAACP accepted the Church position in regards to the priesthood issue and did sue the Church on those grounds. They only cared about leadership positions being denied to black Boy Scouts. The case was settled in that the Church abandoned the policy regarding who could receive a senior position in Scout troops. No change in the policy regarding blacks and the priesthood occurred. The NAACP agreed with the settlement. This was written about in 1974 in this Salt Lake Tribune article. On this date in 1974, a 12-year-old African-American Boy Scout was denied a senior patrol leadership in his troop because he was black. Don L. Cope, then the black ombudsman for the state of Utah, brought the issue of the Mormon doctrine of discrimination against blacks in the Boy Scouts to the NAACP. The Boy Scouts of America did not discriminate because of race, but Mormon-sponsored troops did have a policy of racial discrimination. At the time, Mormon troop policy was that in order for a scout to become a patrol leader, he must be a deacon's quorum president in the LDS Church. Since the boy cannot hold the priesthood, he cannot become a patrol leader. Shortly before Boy Scout officials were to appear in federal court on charges of discrimination, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints issued a policy change which allowed black youths to be senior patrol leaders, a position formerly reserved for white LDS youths in troops, sponsored by the Mormon Church. An LDS Church spokesman said under the guidelines set forth in the statement, a young man other than president of the deacon's quorum could, now, become the senior patrol leader, if he is better qualified. Mormon President Spencer W. Kimball had been subpoenaed to testify in the suit, but on November 7, 1974, the Tribune reported, a suit claiming discrimination against blacks by the Boy Scouts of America was dismissed in federal court. All parties to the suit signed an agreement stating the alleged discrimination has been discontinued. The final example is of an ex-janitor of the Church organized a protest in the October 1978 conference. To suggest that a protest by an ex-janitor would influence the decision-making by church leadership is insane. The fact that the change occurred in the same year is just a coincidence. The Church is used to protesters. It has learned to pretty much ignore them. The reality is the 1978 change had little to do with appeasing those outside the Church. The Church made the change based on internal considerations. For many years, many in the Church and its leadership questioned the issue, and much prayer and study went into the subject. The temple in São Paulo, Brazil, and all the issues that arose from the demographics in membership in Brazil played a key role. Thankfully the policy was changed, but that change came from factors that little to do with protesters and critics. Thank you for your time.